She sold millions of records, performed to myriads of people, and won countless hearts with her brashness and honesty. Her name, Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanotta, may not be familiar to many, but everyone knows her stage name.
Guys, it's Lady Gaga!
Pop phenomenon doesn't come close to describing the lady from New York. As dance diva, singer-songwriter, and cultural icon, Lady Gaga is the most controversial and talked about woman in entertainment.
We want to talk about her outfits. We want to talk about the way that she pretended to kill herself on stage at the VMA Awards. So it's not just that she's in the conversation, it's that she is the conversation.
She knows what she's doing, she's feisty, she knows the business.
You know, I was told that she's an hermaphrodite. That's a great angle. Here, put it in the press and have everyone write, is she or isn't she? The truth is, who cares?
It's ridiculous that people would think that she had a penis. She's quite obviously all woman.
The theatrical pop star seemed to arrive from nowhere to give a depressed, industrialized globe super catchy, highly danceable songs, plus a dazzling array of outrageous costumes, fixating pop videos, and gay rights activism.
Image is everything to her success. If Lady Gaga had come along and wasn't falling out of nightclubs, wearing her pants, then she wouldn't have become a tabloid staple.
Since shooting to worldwide superstardom, Lady Gaga has sold 10 million records and a reputed 35 million singles worldwide. In March 2010, she became the first music artist to top 1 billion online views.
We wrote Just Dance in 1 hour. It's like magic. We recorded a demo in my computer, 1 hour. Poker Face, 1 hour.
And now, she's taking on the world, one sequin at a time. Born in Yonkers, New York on March 28, 1986, Stefani Germanotta began learning piano aged 4.
She did show a lot of musical talent as a child, and the reason that she started playing the piano in the first place was that her mother wanted her to take up something as a hobby. She had a lot of energy as a small child, and her mother wanted her to direct that into something constructive.
But things didn't quite go according to plan.
When she first started playing the piano, she didn't actually play at all. Her mother was like, you're going to sit at that piano, I don't care if you play, you're going to sit there for an hour every day, just to try and control her daughter a little bit. And to start with, for the first couple of weeks, she didn't do anything. She says she sat there, she crossed her arms, she threw a fit. She said, I'm not going to do, you told me to play piano, I'm not going to play. But eventually, after a while, she knew she had to sit there for an hour every day. She got bored and she started playing, and that's how she got to be as amazing as she is today.
We can't do it if it snows.
Lady Gaga is a talented musician, and actually if you look back on clips that have been shown of her on various shows, and if you look on YouTube, there are clips of her, when she's younger. She's obviously a good pianist. She's not the greatest pianist in the world, but she's obviously a good pianist.
She has got actual talent, and I think that's been something that's been really lacking in the pop sphere, because we are now presented with so many pop artists who come through reality shows like X Factor, and these people obviously do have talent. They're good singers, they can dance, but they aren't the whole package, and she is absolutely 100% the whole package.
I really, really love what I do. I genuinely, I live and breathe and love music and my art, and I'm a very passionate person. And I guess when you feel as though you would be empty without your work, you don't mind the hustle, and you don't mind stopping.
By age 13, Stephanie had begun writing ballads.
She started writing songs by the time she was in her early teens. She'd already had thousands of hours of practice, having to practice every day. She was really, really into pop when she was a teenager, and she's spoken a lot about how she remembered going to see Britney, and she remembered screaming and being this kind of crazed super fan, and she remembers all the other people around her, all the other fans screaming and crying, and she says that was one of the things that made her want to make pop music exciting and ignite people's interest in it again. She was very influenced by New Kids on the Block. She was a big fan of theirs, and she actually got to support them and co-wrote some songs on their comeback album.
A chance meeting with vocal coach Don Lawrence was to provide the young Stephanie with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
The way that she was eventually encouraged to start writing her own songs was she was in a boutique in New York after school one day, just wandering around singing along to herself to whatever music was on the radio, and the guy who was working in this boutique heard her singing and thought she had a fantastic voice and said, "Oh, you should hook up with my uncle, he's a voice tutor in New York." It was just a completely random occurrence that just happened out of nowhere. She was a little bit, a bit scared at first, but she took the card and she went home and she made the call, and the voice tutor, the uncle of this random guy who happened to work in this boutique, was Don Lawrence, who is one of the most revered and the most famous vocal coaches in the entire world. One of the first bits of advice he had for her was, it's all very well to play the piano, it's all very well to sing, but you need to start developing and start writing your own songs. And that was why she started writing her own songs in the first place.
As a vocalist, she is possibly not the greatest vocalist in the world, but there is a quality to her voice that when she uses it well, I think it really works.
I'm gonna be your snow queen.
By age 13, Stephanie attended Convent of the Sacred Heart, a private all-girls school in Manhattan.
She came from a privileged background. She went to a quite exclusive Catholic high school. It costs a lot of money to send your daughters there. It's the same school that Paris and Nikki Hilton went to. Lots and lots of very famous alumni have come out of this school.
Stephanie Germanato, obviously she was deprived of nothing because she's running around screaming and wanting to share whatever her enthusiasm is. I think it's a blessing.
She didn't go with the same kind of ethic as lots of the girls that went who were just born into money and expected a lot. She went there thinking that she was going to work really hard because that's what she got from her parents. Her parents were quite well off. When they arrived in America, they didn't have anything. They worked really hard. Her father is an internet entrepreneur, and he made his fortune pretty much from nothing, as did her mother. So they had a very, very strong work ethic at home.
I believe very much in charity and in fighting for good causes. I went to Catholic school growing up, and we did lots of community service. So it's something that I really enjoy doing. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Lady Gaga. Call me Gaga, that's what my friends call me. So we're friends now because I'm in your home. I'm just so happy to be here, and I have to say I'm so inspired. Just walking through and the
community here, the way that you all are with each other. I can feel the love in the room. Anything that I can do to be a part of this organization, I want to help and get to know all of you today. This is a transitional place, and I can feel in this room there's a lot of really, really amazing people that are ready for the future and ready to go out there and make a difference, and I'm just so proud of everyone. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Richard Branson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hi, please. I'm from Slovakia, from Europe.
Thank you. Say hello to Perez, please.
So she went to Convent of the Sacred Heart. Her parents expect her to do really, really well and work really hard. But actually what happens is she finds the atmosphere a bit stifling. She's not meant for this. She's kind of a bit uncomfortable when she's there. She said a lot that she was bullied and the kids would tease her because she had a big nose and she was a bit pudgy and her hair was stupid, and she wasn't really interested in that kind of socialite life. She was a drama kid. She describes herself as being a weird drama kid. She liked performing and she liked singing, and because she didn't fit into those other cliques that were going on, she just concentrated very much on her studies. She was a great student. She worked really hard, got top marks for everything, but she didn't fit in there. And she found the atmosphere so repressive that when she got out and she went to university, she started to realise that this person, this Stephanie, this person that she had been for such a long time, wasn't actually who she was at all.
Look at you following already. You are fucking really amazing. With you little monsters, there is no hate in the world. There is only love. And I believe that if a world war took place, that you would all sing and dance and throw glitter until everybody stopped.
She started experimenting. This is when, kind of the whole no pants thing came in. She realised that was more who she was. She had a voice, she wanted to sing, she wanted to go out in her pants, she wanted to wear high heels, she wanted to make her hair crazy. So all of these things had been bubbling up, and that was how she found herself. And she's so like, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, then that's tough because I'm going to rule the world, and that's how it is.
Head Monster, the CEO of Monster.
Well, I think that the good news is, as many people say that the music industry might not be doing so well, the good news is that music is doing fabulously. Because more than ever, we need an escapist environment, somewhere to go and get lost from all of the things that we're dealing with in our personal lives.
She knows that in the world that we live in, where media is thrown at us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that you have to have a constant presence in it. And one of the ways that she does this is by presenting her image in a very striking way. Every picture of Lady Gaga will go into a newspaper, a tabloid or a broadsheet in many cases, because she is doing very interesting things with her look. She's not, the most conventionally attractive person. She is attractive, but she's not somebody who would be sent off to modelling school or something like that. But she takes what she has and makes herself look incredibly striking.
She attracts audiences. She gets people to get off their tush and buy the records. Either they let their fingers do the buying or they let their legs take them to buy. But she's obviously talented.
To the despair of her parents, Stephanie turned her back on the world of typical teenage girls.
She started doing burlesque routines, doing go-go dancing in clubs, quite risque. She was go-go dancing with a friend of hers from New York called Lady Starlight. The pair of them would go to rock clubs and wear very little. And by very little, I mean, leopard print, thong, perhaps a $3 bra and some little tiled mirrors, which they stuck on with glue. She invited her parents to come and watch her during one of these performances. And the first time they ever saw her perform, she was wearing a thong and she was wearing a bra and she was lighting cans of hairspray on fire on stage and throwing around a beach ball that was covered with tiny tile mirrors. And her father just completely just fell to pieces and just said, I don't know what on earth she's doing. She's lost the plot. She's out of control completely. It's pretty sad. It was his daughter up there, and it must be pretty hard to see your daughter's bum cheeks, wobbling in front of you. You have some bras which you've stuck mirror tiles on. You have a stage show which isn't really much, but you have dreams of ruling the world, and that's what she did.
I love you so much. It's been a real joy getting to know my fans in Germany, and it's always been a dream of mine to have success here, as the music here in Germany and the club culture has inspired so much of my music on the Fame Monster. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I remember last year I saw one of my favorite bands, Metallica, play in this arena. And I had lots to drink and was wearing denim and leather.
What she did is she got on the circle of entertainment. But she got on it by finding some producers who were looking for talent to help write. And then when she wrote, she sang 1 or 2 songs, and they figured, hey, payday, I can make another artist out of this woman. And that's what I believe happened. And she's not the first nor the last that will happen. And then when you pull it off, all of a sudden you're an overnight sensation because no one knew you yesterday.
Stephanie hooked up with Rob Fusari, a music producer who was to become a pivotal force in her career.
Rob Fusari was incredibly important in Gaga's life. He's a producer who's had so much experience already in the kind of sphere that Gaga wanted to move into, which is mainstream world pop domination. Fusari had been writing songs for a very long time. He was very experienced, which was something that Gaga didn't have. She was entering this industry kind of completely like as a virgin. She had no real experience. She didn't know anybody in the industry, and 9 times out of 10, that's how you get somewhere, is by knowing somebody, and she didn't know anybody.
While working with Fusari, Stephanie acquired her attention-grabbing stage name.
She loves David Bowie. She's into glam rock. She loves Mata Hoople. She's in awe of Queen and whatever they represented. In fact, that's where her name comes from, Radio Gaga. Her producer sent her a text message, and when he spell corrected radio, it became Lady Gaga. It's good, I guess it would get him some kind of BlackBerry commercial.
She's presenting herself as a character, and one of the fascinating things about Lady Gaga is that the woman who once was Stephanie Germanotta, now she is Lady Gaga. This is who she is, this is who she's become.
throughout 2007, Gaga collaborated with performance artist Lady Starlight. Their provocative burlesque pop act was a hit in Manhattan's nightclubs, but mainstream show business was nonplussed.
The mainstream American media didn't want to hear about it. They didn't want to know about her. She was just some kind of crazed lunatic who wore a leotard and a weird thing on her head. Her songs were about sex and bisexuality, which is, is the thing which the mainstream American media is not very comfortable with ever. Rob Fessari took her to the first couple of meetings that she had with record labels when they were trying to shop around, trying to find her a record deal. So he took her to Def Jam. They did eventually sign her.
Signed to Def Jam by her 20th birthday and writing songs for artists such as the Pussycat Dolls, Britney Spears and New Kids on the Block, before her debut album was even released, Lady Gaga earned the right to reach for the sky.
That's not an overnight sensation. That's a person that sat there and persevered and pulled it off.
I am the hardest working woman in pop.
The work ethic is so extreme, and I'm not used to seeing that these days. I'm seeing a lot of people who I think are expecting things to happen, or people who are watching, television break their careers for them and deliver them inside of one series, whether it's Idol or X Factor or some vehicle that delivers your career. And so I think that is creating a kind of a false consciousness of what it really takes to have a career, what it takes to make it in the music business. And I think you have to have the work ethic, because otherwise you could have one hit and disappear. And Gaga is not going to disappear.
She was able to write songs that she herself could sing. She's a singer-songwriter of her age.
The goal now is to remain relevant and remain memorable and stay prolific for a long period of time. To change the landscape of what music is, of what fashion is, to keep the two in line with one another. The goal has never been to be famous. My goal has been to be a star.
The deal with Def Jam was a catastrophic failure.
That kind of went wrong, that deal with Def Jam. After 3 or 4 months, they dropped her, and she was absolutely distraught, completely distraught. Rob Fessari was on a plane from New York to San Francisco, and during that flight, she found out she was dropped, and she made, 30 phone calls to him, just completely hysterical, saying, "They've dropped me." This was her dream. What happened then made her much more determined with her songwriting. It made her much more determined to market herself, and, it made her stronger as well.
The problem with today's music business and these big labels is they're banking owned. And when you become banking owned, they want to know, what's the guarantee that I'm going to sell? Instead of this is art and art will really sell. So what they do is they program you. Oh, you have to have this producer because he will write this type of song, or you have to have that type of producer. And in my 40 years, that's what destroyed music, because it gets rid of the originality. And so she worked with these 2 producers who could put her on that circle, and Akon and Red One are the 2 producers.
The next thing you know, he calls me, tells me, you know, I want you to meet this artist. I was like, okay, is she this girl artist? I was like, is she signed? It was like, no, she just got dropped. I was like, no, please, you know, I really, that's it. I told you, I don't want, but like, you know what? Okay, just meet her and make a decision after. Just meet her. If you don't like her, I think she's a superstar, just meet her. If you don't think so, you don't have to work with her. So I said, you know what? I was like, okay, I'll meet her. So I met her and went to, you know, to the city and I met her. She was like, she had with glasses and hair, all that. Like, hey, Lady Gaga. Just the way she said hi to me, I was like, okay. You know, we just got in together in the studio again, and the rest is history.
Once Red One had worked with her, they signed her. The initial project they wanted her for was for songwriting for other artists.
I got a phone call that there was a young artist named Lady Gaga who was about to release her record, and she was a fan and wanted to write with me. And at that time, no one had heard of her. I said, please send me some of her music, and I could tell they were really excited about this possible collaboration. And got back to my hotel room, listened to the MP3s, and the first one was Just Dance, the second one was Poker Face, and I thought she was amazing. And I also knew that she wrote and was involved in production on her songs. So I said, I'd love to write with her. When? And they said, tonight. And I was on vacation at the time. So I said, well, can we do it maybe in a week? And they said, no. She's going to Germany, she's going to Australia, she's going here, she's flying there. And I said, so you're saying it's tonight or not at all? Yes. And so I drove to Los Angeles that night and met her, and she was just a star. You know, she's like walking into a room with someone who looked like they could walk on stage at that moment.
I was signed to Interscope over 2 years ago, and I got to know Jimmy and Dr. Dre. And I was really excited because I heard about this project that they were doing, Beats by Dre, and I loved the idea of creating a headphone that sonically made it possible for fans to listen to music the way that producers and artists intended for them to hear it. So this made me just so inspired.
People try to pawn off each other. She's signed to the same major record label that the Pussycat Dolls signed to. They are performers who sing other people's songs. And so she was able to create that bubble enthusiasm that the Pussycat Dolls needed. And they were all part of the Interscope crowd, and that's what they did.
In 2008, Gaga joined forces with the Pussycat Dolls as a sensational opening act for the Doll Domination World Tour.
It's Doll Domination. We're so excited. It's the biggest tour we've ever done, and it's amazing, and we've worked really hard on it, so we hope you love it.
And we also have amazing people opening up for us. Lady Gaga, who's just killing it all around the world. Neo, we're such big fans of him, so we just feel like we're in the best company in the world.
Yeah. They make us look really good, and they're helping us to Doll Dominate, that's for sure.
Have a good flight.
Hey guys, well, I just saw 2 music videos, and I'm gonna go to London to
see the dolls. I'm on tour with them now.
That's right. You're really excited about that?
Yes, I'm so excited.
That tour was a huge deal because that went around the world. Suddenly, her popularity was growing a lot. There were lots and lots of rumours in the papers about the Pussycat Dolls all being really angry because suddenly she was huge and she was bigger than them. But she's very gracious, and one of the best things about Gaga is she will never, ever say a bad word about another artist.
How are the gigs going with the Pussycat Dolls?
How'd the what go?
How are the gigs going?
Lovely.
Yeah?
Brilliant. Amazing.
What do you think about Obama as well?
He's the shit. Get out of my pants, please.
I love your pants.
In January 2008, Lady Gaga relocated to Los Angeles to finalize her debut album, The Fame.
We just got in together in the studio. Again, in 1 week we did Just Dance, Poker Face, Love Game. We did boom, 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 like, it's just magic. It was just clicking, and she's very inspiring, so it was easy to work with her and make those hits, you know?
Upon its release, The Fame spawned the international chart-topping smash hits Just Dance and Poker Face.
When Just Dance came out, I was not a fan of Lady Gaga. I thought it was quite a cynical record. It seemed to be pushing lots of buttons that were very of the moment. It had an electro sound to it. It was very harsh. It almost had a slightly auto-tune quality about it. I thought that it was presenting itself as a grand statement of the arrival of a new artist, but it was actually a really bombastic song about a girl getting hammered and trying to say something that was deep. It wasn't at all, really. In retrospect, it was quite a good first single to launch her career in the UK as well as the US, because it is very immediate. It's one of those catchy songs that gets in your head and won't go out. And once that was in, she'd made her mark. She'd rubber-stamped her presence. And it was quite a canny move looking back now.
Poker Face is now the most downloaded song since the beginning of the download charts, which is just incredible.
The Fame went on to earn Gaga a total of 6 Grammy nominations. This established her position as a bona fide pop culture phenomenon and first superstar of the digital era.
I'm just celebrating 2 Grammys for Gaga. I'm happy that I watched her work so hard to get to this point, so I'm excited. She Fame won some Grammys as well. So I'm good, you know?
Your album, The Fame, has just sold its 10 millionth copy in the last few days. And the last album to do that was Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. She has, I suspect, rather struggled to cope with fame. How are you coping with it?
Well, I try very much to ignore it. I find it so important to be now a role model and a figure. And I know that that might sound strange to some people who say, oh, but she's so, you know, her clothing and whatever people may think of me. I know what some people may think of me, but most importantly is my connection with my fans.
But I have one question.
Whose pen is this for you? Oh, may I use it just one more time? Did you get a photo?
I know lots of people who had been haters or deniers of Lady Gaga up to that point. Even if they don't still like her music, they realised she knew what she was doing and she was a human being who could just grab people.
Oh my God, Gaga! Sorry, Gaga, you are God. You're so
You
are
God.
Oh, there you are.
Thank you.
January 2009 brought the announcement of a world tour with US rapper Kanye West.
I'm very excited. Kanye is extremely talented, and I was so flattered and humbled when he asked me to co-headline the tour with me and not open for him. So thank you, Kanye. It's going to be an amazing show. Between the two of us, I imagine we'll both be broke, and it will be the best show on earth.
She she is very famous for saying that she doesn't keep any money herself, she spends all the money on her show. The more and more lavish her show gets, the more expensive the tickets we're getting. You very rarely see stage shows as elaborate as hers. She pushes everything to its extreme, whether it's dripping with blood in a live performance or whether it's her quite openness about bisexuality in her videos, in her interviews, whether it's just carrying around a teacup because she wants to see what kind of response she'll get.
In truth, this is the most exciting, creative moment of my life so far, and Kanye is a truly genius individual, and he's been very kind to me to bring me into arenas, because the good news is that now that I'm playing with Kanye, I stay in arenas. So next year, I begin a world tour in February, and I'll be an arena act.
The Kanye show was cancelled, but Gaga now embarked on her own tour, the Fame Ball.
Truthfully, the Fame Ball is a party. It's an experience. It's a place for kids that love to get wasted and make art, go to meet each other and celebrate.
By June 2009, Lady Gaga and her Fame Ball tour had reached Britain.
At Glastonbury, she really changed people's minds. Glastonbury is a very old-fashioned, muddy, gritty, earthy British festival. And so to see somebody who comes on stage wearing ridiculous costumes, playing the piano and actually engaging with the audience, which is something I think surprised a lot of people, because Lady Gaga generally is somebody who presents herself in a very controlled manner. But she talks to the audience, she had fun with the audience, and she actually showed that you can be somebody who presents herself as a great work of art, but also be a human being that can appreciate the situation that she's in and respond to a crowd in a certain way.
The best bit of the whole show for me is when she sits at the piano. That, to me, I could watch a whole show like that. I saw Ziggy Stardust when I was 12, so after that, nothing can impress you, really. It's a bit like, yeah, whatever, I'm not a big fan of kind of the sort of Broadway musical type rock shows, but I like the dressing up, I love all that, but I always find like too many dancers and too many stage props a bit distracting, But for me, like when she's amazing when she sits at the piano, it's just like, oh my God, now you can really tell what a great artist she is. So yeah, that's my favourite bit.
Hello, world. I don't know where you are right now. I'm at Glastonbury, in the mud. Wicked.
Gaga, rock.
Carnival side, yeah? You can never take too many precautions at Glastonbury, mate.
Since the Glastonbury Festival, Gaga has taken on a semi-mythic air, like Prince or Madonna.
It's interesting about Lady Gaga because when she started out, instantly people said that she was the new Madonna. It came along very early in her career, and it seemed like quite a bold claim at that stage. But as her career's developed and she's had a much larger public profile, it's very obvious that she's very in control of her career, her look, her sound, and obviously that has parallels with Madonna. But she does something very different from Madonna, so in a sense, you can see that she's like the Madonna of old, but also she's completely her own person. She's completely unique.
Madonna is a huge influence, and Cyndi Lauper as well. She models herself very, very much on these strong female icons. Madonna especially, because Madonna was such a big influence in the 80s and early 90s when Gaga was growing up.
Looking at the backgrounds of Madonna and Lady Gaga, people will instantly draw comparisons because they are Italian-American girls who moved to New York. They created their own careers there. They had to do a bit of hard work to get where they are. It's interesting now because Lady Gaga is a little younger than Madonna was when she first started out. She doesn't come from the same background as Madonna in terms of being a dancer, which Madonna was originally. She has a musical background. She's a pianist. She has classical training. She has worked in a way that Madonna hasn't. She has a very different set of skills to Madonna.
To sit and say, is she Madonna, that does disservice to Madonna and it does disservice to her.
The comparisons, in some ways, could be quite blasé because you just look at the small elements of their careers. If you look beyond that, they are actually quite different artists.
The comparisons to Madonna are because she's collected the gay crowd like Madonna did in the early 80s.
Gaga's devotion to and promotion of every aspect of gay culture is legendary. Her outspoken views have made her a new gay icon.
She's very encouraging and supportive of the gay community, and she's been very, very encouraging of gay teenagers to be strong and be themselves, and, you know, it doesn't really matter if you're gay, who you are is a beautiful thing.
She's a gay icon. They're flamboyant, they're happy, and they go out at night. Basically, her performance it's vaudeville based. You know, it's different. They're trying to bring light into the night. And that's what the gay people look for. They look to go out and just party all night. And she's a party all night.
She is just an absolute gay icon in every way. She's always respected the gay community and played a lot of gay clubs. And she talks very openly about how much she appreciates her gay fan base.
We're trying to get shots of you.
Turn around and march and grab a fucking flag.
Lady Gaga for president!
I
love you! Lady Gaga's second album, The Fame Monster, was released with immense success in November 2009.
You can easily download an MP3. But you cannot download a lifestyle. So my fashion is my lifestyle. My attitude, my outlook on the world, my position as a sexual woman, this is exactly who I am, and it is a way of life that myself and many others like me live in New York City, in the art community on the Lower East Side. And I was very, very strong in my opinions about how people should see me when I first come out with my music, because I knew that they would love the lifestyle. I knew that they would love the story of New York as much as they would love the music.
She's been given two pretty enormous accolades. One is Queen of the Downloads, and the other one is Queen of Digital Video. She's had millions of downloads, and with the viewing of her videos online as well on YouTube, she's passed 1 billion total views of her videos online, which is just incredible. She's the queen of pop music in a completely new era. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when Britney first started out, when Christina Aguilera started out, the beginning of Madonna's career, we didn't have downloads, we didn't have MP3s, we didn't have any of this. We're moving into a completely new paradigm for music, generally, not just pop music. Gaga is proving that it's translating into money, it's translating into hard cash, into paid-for downloads.
She's the kind of pop star that could only really exist in this decade. There's something, in some ways, a bit old-fashioned about Lady Gaga because she does hark back to older, stronger females, which is fantastic. But the fact that she uses the new media so brilliantly in terms of the way she presents herself visually and is in the papers every day, the way her videos have become massive viral hits on the internet.
I often say that if I was reincarnated in the 70s, I'm not sure I would have made it to being a pop singer. I would probably be on acid following the Beatles somewhere. I love rock stars, and there's very little left today, but in the 70s they were running rampant, so.
She's called Queen of the Downloads because that's a great tag to give her. And I'm sure she created it. You know, when they tell you who has the most downloads, like reputedly she's got the most downloads in her song, I bet not. She may have the most recorded downloads. You can't record the unrecorded downloads, the pilfering and everything else. But what's fantastic is she has a ton of them. So everyone wants to be number one. You're only number one until the next one comes along.
One of the pivotal moments for Lady Gaga's career in the UK was when she starred on the X Factor. The X Factor is largely known for producing very safe, very bland, pretty malleable pop stars. And then one night in December 2009, she arrives dressed like a bat in a massive bath on stage with lots of strange dancers. And the audience goes absolutely crazy. It had that instant impact, and it really impressed me because it showed that the British audience, and by extension I think audiences globally, do not just want safe manufactured pop. They want music that challenges them, that makes them laugh, that makes them think. And I think that was a very healthy change for music in general.
She's always thinking about the next thing she's doing. She's thinking 3 or 4 videos ahead. And I knew she was a star, but I didn't know she was going to be the biggest thing in the universe by now.
Although chart domination is important to her, Gaga's primary focus remains to be of service to her devoted fans.
Everywhere I go in the world, there are Lady Gaga fans. Lady Gaga fans possess a certain quality. I can't quite explain it. Perhaps it's a pop cultural nerve. They come in hair bows, covered in glitter, sweating and screaming. Everybody's a little different in each country, but for the most part, there are Lady Gaga fans everywhere.
She's after the kids on the outside. She calls them her little monsters.
I actually went to get my niece her autograph. That was the whole purpose of me being there. I was like, she did, yeah. She signed both, yeah. To my little monsters.
They're the freaks. She wants the freaks. She wants the kids that didn't fit in anywhere else. Because that's how she felt about herself when she was younger.
Despite her busy schedule, Gaga's sense of generosity drives her to give her time and her profile to worthy causes, teaming up with Cyndi Lauper to promote AIDS awareness.
We run into each other at gay clubs a lot. Well, we have a common friend. We do. I was terrified because, you know, it's Cyndi Lauper, so I was very... we were at the Logo Awards, the Logo Network in America. It's a gay, lesbian, bi, and transgendered sort of TV network that was having an awards show, and Cyndi was there, and it was my first TV performance, and I was walking down the hallway and I saw her, and she's like, "I love your outfit." I have really, really enjoyed playing here in London and looking up into a full arena of all those beautiful faces has reminded me why I want to protect my fans so much and why it's important to be a role model. And being here with Cindy and speaking about the Mac AIDS Fund, about AIDS awareness, it reminds me that all those beautiful young people that are going out and they might not be confident, they might have some insecurities, it reminds me that I want to be a role model for them, and I'm very honored to be here with Cindy.
Today, Lady Gaga was adding her support to raise money and awareness for HIV. The key question for our team, where do you put a mic when you've got nothing on besides a giant piece of lingerie and a massive metal rose?
You look absolutely stunning, and I feel horribly underdressed facing you, to be honest.
Thank you.
I've seen some of the pictures of the things you've been wearing over the weekend. Please, please tell me there is at least some time where you just blob around at home in a t-shirt and jeans.
I don't do that. I'm Viva Glam.
And that's the Gaga way. No compromise in her inexorable rise to global pop domination.
Lady G has kept the fashion pages alight with her increasingly outlandish yet creatively brilliant parade of outfits.
Image is everything to her. If she hadn't looked that way when she came along, then she wouldn't have had that media presence and she wouldn't have gone on to be as notorious as she has been.
I think she's great. It was Lady Gaga. She put some panache back into the game, you know, instead of, like, I don't know who's who now. I don't know, there's no celebrities, there's no kind of one-up people anymore.
So you're a Lady Gaga fan? So do you sit at home listening to Lady Gaga?
No, I mean, I just want to I've seen her on the TV a couple of times. At least she tries to look the part. She has some kind of craziness with her, you know?
Her image is a success. And that's what she's selling and that's what she's promoting. And the truth is that image is going to get boring like everything does. It's in her hands.
She has had a no trousers rule for a very long time, and it isn't something new, it isn't something just to grab headlines. She's had a no trousers rule since her late teens, since she started hanging out with Lady Starlight, since she started go-go dancing, since she was performing in New York. She has always been a glamour girl.
As someone that loves fashion, I wanted to make something that would make kids feel cool when they were listening to records.
Gaga has a factory of collaborators known as the House of Gaga, who advise their muse on clothing, stage sets, and sounds.
The way she's created the House of Gaga as a brand is quite interesting. This is a very powerful brand. It almost looks back to time of German decadence, like the 20s and 30s, these sort of strange, larger-than-life female characters. I do think she really does try and hark back to the classic dames of Hollywood and Europe and tries to get that across in what she does.
She's very in charge of the things she wants to project to the outside world. She has this group of advisors around her, stylists and costume makers and so on, who are people who she's been friends with for a long time. And so she has people who knew her before who can tell her and bring her down to earth. No, that doesn't work. No, that looks stupid. No, that's what everybody else is doing. Because she needs to keep pushing this innovative edge, and that's what she wants. She wants to be different. She wants to stand out. And so by keeping these people around her who are very loyal and have been, you know, with her for a long time, she manages to do a really good job and not just, you know, take on any old person that the record company wants to throw at her. She keeps people who are loyal.
She's totally in control. And what she is she's wise enough at a young age to listen to those around her, to accept their ideas and to formulate them, and to come at and then regurgitate them as her. That's where you put together a team, because only teams win. She cannot do it by herself.
Lady Gaga has changed the fashion game for every performer. All female pop stars are now conscious of their need to up their stage presence. From Beyonce to Kylie, Christina to Rihanna, divas have had to take a rain check on their usual stylists.
How you doing, Lady Gaga? Looking beautiful as always, sweetheart. Hey, Lady Gaga, who wears better outfits, you or Katy Perry? All right, have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Although her clothes and hair might have changed, Gaga's career focus is the one thing that hasn't, along with her original approach to performance artistry.
I'm kind of a geek. Well, this show's kind of nerdy. I mean, I'm unembarrassed about the performance art quality of what I do. We made an installation piece that was essentially a pair of sunglasses that you could watch music videos on. And I built them out of iPods. And the idea was for it to be commentary on how the iPod has changed the way we see music. Not the way we hear music, but the way we see music as a file, as a stream. And maybe not everybody gets it, but like I said, they look like the jackets my friends and I wore in New York. And our style and our sense of self is what propelled us all towards the fame, towards that sense of we can do anything, we can be whoever we want.
She's saying that besides listening to me orally, I'm visual, and you need to see me visually. So she's combining the two senses, audio and visual, and she's trying to say she's more than just a singer. She's a performance.
She's very, very influenced by performance artists. She's very influenced by Andy Warhol and his ideas of fame.
I think it's an image of our time. I think that it's a paradoxical image.
Some people say, what the hell is she doing? It's a performance, it's performance art. She's taking the concept of just going to a gig and seeing somebody sing and dance around a bit. She's combining these two traditions with each other and making something completely new.
It's smart. It's very 21st century.
Now, you've just played two sold-out shows at the O2 over the weekend, highly critically acclaimed. Just tell me what sort of response have you had from the public in London?
Well, you know, London is not always an easy crowd. And I remember because I used to open for so many people here, and I would always find sort of solace and happiness when I would go to the gay clubs because they were always wild and dancing and they really loved and enjoyed me. But the O2 was something I've never experienced before. I mean, everyone was dancing and screaming and on their feet the whole show, and it was really remarkable. And it reminds me why I want to do work like this so much, because I look out into the audience and I hear them singing my music and supporting me, and I think I want to do everything I can to protect them, because some of them are very troubled and insecure and don't feel that they fit in.
Would you ever consider moving to London?
I don't really live anywhere. I live on my stage. All my clothing and props and things are on. I don't have a home, so I don't really live anywhere. But I love London.
Like any worthy performance artist, Lady Gaga actively encourages speculation about her sexuality.
I think she's vague about her sexuality because she wants to increase the sense of mystery about her.
She admits to being bisexual, and she's still a performer, she's still singing, and we should honor her performance and her singing, but instead we like to go, that's what that is, and that's why that is, and it's a great angle to keep in the press.
Lady Gaga knows what she's doing in terms of the hermaphrodite rumours. She knows that that's one of the debates, and she's stoking that fire. She's obviously a woman. I don't think it does her career or her myth any harm to kind of just let those rumours carry on all by themselves.
Initially, she refused to say that she didn't have a penis, which was a great thing because people would bring it up in an interview and she'd just say, I don't want to talk about it. I don't think it's important if I'm a hermaphrodite or not. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual groups were really, really connected with her because she was saying that sexuality is not an important thing. What do you care if I have a penis, or what do you care if I have a vagina, or if I have neither, or if I have both? I am fabulous and my music is the thing that's important.
While I was on stage, all of the young boys were going, do you have a boyfriend? And the answer is no. But I'm very busy, so I would be a terrible wife.
Lady Gaga.
Oh, that's very nice.
You had me at bluffing with my muffin.
Since revealing she is genetically predisposed to the life-threatening condition lupus, all eyes will be on Gaga's next move.
She'll either mature with the audience, or she'll do what a lot of other artists do. They disappear. But who knows? This woman looks like she could transcend.
She could be doing anything. If she hasn't had a nervous breakdown because she works so hard, which I sincerely hope she hasn't, because the music industry really needs someone like her right now.
I see Lady Gaga in 20 years' time in an amazing mansion in the Hollywood Hills with the House of Gaga aging around her, lots of poodles, lots of platinum discs. She's not going to be a flash in the pan. She's going to do some things that will change our notions of how the music industry works. She always has surprised us. I think she'll continue to surprise us.